Dear friends, good morning. Hope you all are doing well. Today I have brought a brand new video on the various types of testing methods and testing terminologies used in the SAP projects or in SAP domain. Before I move further, I would like to request you all kindly like this video, share this video in your network. Put up your comments if you have any questions, queries related to the testing methodologies, whatever is going to be discussed in this particular video, and let's proceed further. So, as part of this video, what we are going to see, what we are going to understand. So, here is the contents. So, we will understand what is SAP testing all about, what is positive testing, what is negative testing. We will try to get some examples also out of it. Then we will understand regression testing, unit testing, functional unit testing, user acceptance testing, otherwise also called as UAT. Then we also have integration testing, sanity testing, smoke testing, performance testing, security testing, black box testing, and dry run. Probably all these testings and details you will not get at one place on the internet. It will be difficult to get everything at one place, but as part of this video I have brought in everything at one place, not just one place. We will understand also all these testing methods in detail along with examples. I am not going to touch the SAP system as such. It will be mostly in theory, but then it is being used extensively throughout the SAP project. Does not matter whether it is an implementation project or a support project. Probably not all testing methods will be used into all projects in SAP, but then it is always a mix and match as per the requirement which is being carried out as part of this testing methods while working on various kinds of SAP projects. It can be implementation, support, rollout, enhancement, development, upgrades, conversions, and so on. Within SAP also, as you know, there are variety of projects. Let's proceed further. So SAP testing is basically to aim at evaluating the SAP systems and applications to confirm whether they are working as expected as per the requirement or not. That is point 1. If at all system has some issues, some kind of defects, errors, and we also need to ensure that whether the system's performance is up to the mark as per the business requirement, that too not just with one business scenario but across various kinds of business scenarios. Here mainly we are talking about end-to-end business scenarios. In terms of that, sometimes you can have errors even in regular transactions in terms of unit testing or something like that. So that kind of things also is being actually checked across. So this multifaceted approach involves scrutinizing different facets of the SAP system ranging from individual components to the integrated modules. Remember, while testing in the SAP system, errors can pop up at any point of time. It can come up from any customized program, sometimes even in the standard program. Then any kind of unit testing, integration testing, anything can happen. Basically, this entire SAP testing is being carried out to ensure two things in very common thing, and these are the ultimate two goals of the SAP system. First, wipe out all the errors and all kind of problems which might come up when the system goes live in the production system. That is the ultimate goal. And second part is it should meet with the compliance. It should meet with the business requirements along with the legal compliance. So basically, in order to fit into all these things and to ensure the correctness of the system and also to have the optimum performance of the system in various kinds of different business scenarios, all these things are tested at a very detailed level. Hope this point is clear to you all. Now let's proceed. Now going forward we will see all the methods and we will also try to see some of the examples from the real SAP world. Let's proceed further. So what is the importance of testing? So as SAP systems, and why so much testing is needed actually to do in the SAP system? Remember one thing, that SAP for the organization plays a very important role in terms of maintaining and organizing day-to-day operations of the business. Any problem, any deficiencies in functionality can lead to big disruption in the business processes, data inaccuracies, and compromised day-to-day business decisions of the organization, because it is the data based on which business decisions are usually taken, and if the data itself will be inaccurate because it was not tested thoroughly, you can imagine what all things can go wrong with the company if the decision is made based on the wrong set of data. And that is why this SAP testing is very important. In order to avoid the problems related to disruption in the business process, data inaccuracies, and compromised decision making, SAP testing in all SAP projects are mandatory requirements. It is not an optional requirement, it has to be done if it has to meet its ultimate goal of making business user friendly, making business compliant, making business using this SAP system at the optimum level, and so on. Let's move further. Let's talk about positive testing. So basically positive testing validates the system behavior under the expected or positive conditions. It entails executing test cases to verify whether SAP applications perform as intended when provided with valid inputs and within predefined parameters. So positive testing basically validates the functionalities such as data entry, calculation accuracy, transaction processes within SAP modules. By focusing on expected outcomes, positive testing ensures that SAP systems meet functional requirements and deliver the desired user experience. Let me give you one example of the positive testing. Suppose, for example, we are making a payment to the customer via transaction code F-28. When you run the transaction F-28, system receives the payment from the customer because it is incoming payment, and it clears the open item or maybe the open invoice of that customer and makes the adjustment in the overall customer balance including this payment accordingly. This is the expectation from an F-28 transaction. If all the parameters with given correct inputs, it is able to clear the open item of the customer, then it means it is meeting the requirement and it is working as expected, and it will give you the correct result. So when system gives the correct results with correct inputs with the correct set of data being supplied as input and parameters, then this kind of outcome is what is called as positive testing. That means our tests are positive, it is working as expected. I just gave one simple example. There can be many such examples. I will tell you, particularly in the support project, many a times we get analysis based issues where we need to have one positive test case and we also need to have a negative test case, and then we compare what went wrong with the negative test case and why it is not working as expected. Many a times it can be related to the integration test scenarios as well. So positive testing in general simply means with the right set of data, it is giving you the output as expected by the business. That simply means it is meeting its requirement and it is fulfilling the business needs. Let's move to the next slide. Negative testing. Negative testing basically checks how SAP applications respond to the invalid or unexpected inputs or end conditions. This type of testing is crucial for uncovering the system's vulnerabilities, error handling mechanisms, and boundary conditions within SAP system. As a part of negative testing, testers deliberately introduce wrong data or data with the error, unsupported operations, or unusual scenarios to evaluate the robustness and resilience of SAP applications. It helps identify potential weakness such as inadequate error messages, data corruption, system crashes. It thereby enhances the overall reliability and security of SAP implementations. Many a times it is not enough as part of SAP testing that check only with the correct set of data. Many a times you also need to check what will happen to the system if we provide wrong set of data or maybe inaccurate data or maybe corrupted data, and how the system will respond, whether the system has enough mechanism in place which can stop processing such kind of transactions in the system. To check that kind of things, people do the negative testing, and here they provide the wrong set of data to the system to verify whether system is stopping those transactions for further progressing in the system or not. And this also ensures that your system has the capability to handle the wrong set of data also as per the process. It can be done by way of maybe validation, substitution, and then there are so many other methods as well. And this negative testing also comes in terms of many a times analysis issues as we were discussing in the previous slides. So in that case, you will have to do more digging into that. Probably you might also need to do the debugging and the various other methodologies which can be used to validate the negative testing. So it helps you to find out the root cause and error and helps you to maintain the system in the more streamlined process, and it also helps you that whether system has any problem in dealing with wrong set of data. It will uncover some of the weakness of the system so that you can take the corrective steps in the system and make the system more secure, more reliable, and the security also will be of the top class for the SAP system. Let's proceed further. Regression testing. This is one of the very important testing methods It plays a vital role in SAP development and maintenance activity. It ensures that the recent modifications or enhancements in the SAP system do not impact the existing SAP systems in a negative way. Patches and configuration changes. Regression testing in SAP verifies that system alterations do not introduce any unintended side effects or regressions. Here, simply this regression testing means just because we are adding a new functionality or making a changes in an already running and existing program, it should not impact the current functionality of the SAP system which is already running on. That means it should not have any negative impact on the already running functionalities and ensure that it does not create any further problem into that. Test suites comprising predefined scenarios are rerun to validate the continued correctness of SAP functionalities, data integrity, and integration with other modules. Automating regression testing in SAP procedures streamlines the validation process and mitigates the risk of post-deployment issues. Post-deployment issue here means post-go live issues. Basically, it is referring to. So, whenever we make some changes in the program, whenever we introduce some level of functionalities, so we always tend to do some or the other kind of regression testing to ensure that whatever is running already in the system perfectly, that should not get any impact because of this introduction of the new changes or the new functionalities or the new implementation. So basically this regression testing is very important and it is being more extensively used in the support projects rather than an implementation project. But even in the implementation project, regression testing is done, particularly during the entire integration scenarios, end-to-end scenarios, where whole process is being run from starting point all the way till end point, and it also need to ensure that system performance should not go down because of the load and other testings. So it helps you to check those errors and fix those errors in advance before the changes are deployed in the production system. This entire process can be automated as well by way of implementing some other applications which will do this regression testing and check whether system is working as expected or not. Remember, all these testings are done mostly in the quality system. Nobody does a testing in the production system. Kindly keep that in mind. See, your unit testing and couple of other testings are done in the development system first, and then your entire integration testing, regression testing, and various other kind of testing is being done in the quality system of the SAP. So majority of your the testing is being always carried out in the QAS system of the SAP configuration pipeline. Let's move further. Now we will talk about unit testing. What you understand by unit testing is different for different set of people. For me, if you say what is unit testing, if I am creating a sales order by using the T code VA01, it is a unit testing. But the same thing for the unit testing if a Vapor has developed any new functionalities and a Vapor is now doing the testing with regard to the new functionality, that also is called as the unit testing. So it involves scrutinizing individual programs units functions or modules in isolation to ascertain their correctness and the reliability. That means every time whether they are producing the expected results or not. And remember, it is just one area, not cross module kind of things. Cross module testings are different. This testing approach focuses on validating the smallest unit of SAP code, such as ABAP objects. Developers conduct unit testing during the coding phase to detect and rectify defects early in the development cycle. By isolating and testing discrete components, SAP unit testing facilitates easier debugging. It also promotes code reusability and accelerates the overall software development process. So, this particular unit testing from the technical standpoint of view is being done by the developers and to rectify their codes, and it is always done in isolation. Just one piece of component is being tested, and that is why it is called as unit testing. Hope this entire point is clear. And remember, this is for program units, functions or modules in isolation. That means two or three modules will not get integrated as part of the unit testing. It will be just one component of one module, one small component will get tested, and it can be done testing via business objects also from the development perspective. And unit testing is being done in all kind of projects. It can be implementation project, support project, enhancement project, and so on. Everywhere unit testing is mostly part of it. Let's proceed further. Functional unit testing. Now, this is a small component of the unit testing. Unit testing is actually has a bigger scope, but functional unit testing, which is also called as FUT, is a subset of unit testing that specifically verifies the functionality of individual units components within SAP system or solutions. Test cases are designed to validate the behavior of SAP functions, methods or modules in isolation. It ensures that they meet the functional requirements and produce the expected outputs or results. The example for the functional unit testing from the SAP finance perspective can be F-02 or FB50, FB60, FB70 and so on. So one T code we are picking up and we are doing testing and checking whether it is producing the expected results or outputs or not. We can run the report and see whether it is generating the right kind of reports or not. It helps in identifying the defects or inconsistencies with specific SAP functionalities. It enables developers to address the issues promptly and maintain the overall integrity of SAP applications. Suppose you are facing any issue or any kind of error or any kind of messages which system is throwing at the time of doing this functional unit testing. So, and not just that, even the technical people whenever they do testing, they also need to connect with the functional consultants, stating that please perform the unit testing from the functional perspective and see whether it is giving you the right set of outputs or not. So this verification helps to check all the errors in advance, and by this way we are reducing basically the post go live errors. The less number of post go live errors we will have, the implementation will be considered as more and more successful as much as it will have less number of errors post go live. And that is why this function unit testing actually helps to maintain the overall integrity of the SAP applications. Moving on to the next slide. User acceptance test, otherwise also called as UAT. This UAT is being used all across all projects, implementation, support, enhancement, everywhere. So it is a pivotal phase in SAP implementation projects particularly. It allows end users to evaluate the system's suitability, functionality, and usability in the real world business scenarios. Unlike other testing types primarily conducted by the technical teams, UAT involves the business stakeholders actively participating in validating SAP applications from the business user's perspective. End users execute predefined test cases or business scenarios to assess whether SAP systems meet their operational needs, deliver the expected outcomes or not. UAT feedback identifies if there are any discrepancies, usability issues, or feature gaps. It enables organizations to refine SAP configurations and ensure alignment with the business objectives. Every time implementation or support project in SAP happens, or whenever you are developing any new functionality without UAT, the changes cannot go to the production system or system cannot go live in case of implementation project. Once you get the UAT sign off by the business user that yes, the entire set of transactions, reports, forms developed by the SAP project team are meeting the business requirements and are working as expected and fulfilling the business requirements. So for that, all the business users of the company will test those functionalities in the system, in the quality system, by having the right set of authorizations, roles, and other things. And then they will validate and approve that yes, it is meeting our requirement. So you can move these changes in the production system or you can declare the system go live by following further processes. If at all they point out some mistakes, some discrepancies, some errors, then it is the duty of the SAP project team to rectify those errors and perform the UAT once again. And once all the UATs are neat and clean, I mean everything is being working as expected and it is meeting the business deadlines and requirements and functionalities and usability, then they will give the approval and then further activities can be carried out. Hope this point is very clear. Remember, this UAT term is very common. Many people are not full-fledged aware how this UAT happens unless they have worked on it. But even in theory, if somebody will ask you in the interview, please explain with some good examples. It will help you to clear your interviews as well. Let's move further. Integration test. As the name itself suggests, it is an integration. Integration means minimum 2 to 3 modules will be connected to each other. For example, we always call it as P2P cycle, O2C cycle. These are the two most common ones, but then there are many more things as well. So let us first understand what integration testing is all about. It verifies the seamless interaction and interoperability of interconnected SAP modules, interfaces, and external systems. This phase validates data exchange, transactional consistency, and end-to-end business processes spanning multiple SAP components. Integration tests simulate real-world scenario to ensure data flows correctly between modules, interfaces function as intended, and dependencies are properly managed. Detecting integration errors or communication failures early in the development cycle enables organizations to preemptively address interoperability issues. It enhances the overall reliability of SAP system landscapes. Remember, integration testing is not just all about P2P cycle and O2C cycle. As a part of the system landscape, there are various components which are connected with each other. It can be via through third-party interface, some middlewares. An SAP system never works in all alone scenario. They are always connected with many other systems which exchange data between them. So testing do not happen only within the SAP system. It also happens between different systems in terms of incoming data or outgoing data, incoming IDOC or outgoing IDOC, as the case may be as per the requirement. And we also check that whatever is being sent to data from one system to SAP, or SAP sends data to another system, that is working as expected or not, or whether there are some issues in that, or if there are any issues, then those issues are also gets sorted out and that needs to be fixed. And that is why data exchange, transactional consistency, and end-to-end business processes spanning, these things are thoroughly checked and verified integrate in the integration testing phase. This phase is the most crucial phase in any kind of SAP implementation project particularly, and sometimes even in the support project this is being done as and when some new functionality, some new enhancements are included in one module. In order to validate that does not get hit into some other modules, this integration testing is being carried out based on the requirement. And this integration testing also ensures that system is more competent, more reliable, it has all the required features in it, and it does not create any undue problem at a later stage. Remember, fixing errors in the production system is one of the costliest mistakes one can do in the SAP projects. And this testing also uncovers if there are any integration related issues within the SAP systems or between SAP systems and other external systems, or between SAP system and some middleware, because there are many systems which talk to each other within a single project. So this integration testing ensures that all the systems are well connected with each other, are talking to each other in the expected way of data exchange, and the transactional data accuracy is being maintained across systems. Hope this point is clear to you. Let's move further. Now coming to the sanity testing. So sanity testing involves the quick evaluation of critical functionalities or areas within SAP systems following changes, updates or deployments. Whenever you are going live or you are deploying some big changes, this sanity testing is being done. It focuses on validating essential features or the core functionalities to ascertain system stability and readiness for further testing. Remember, this sanity testing is not just about doing the basic testing kind of thing. Lot of testing follows even after the sanity testing. But for that to happen, all the base level testing is being done, and system stability and readiness also is being tested as part of the sanity testing. Remember, this sanity testing goes in the production system as well. This approach identifies major defects or showstopper issues that could impede subsequent SAP testing efforts. Conducting sanity tests at key junctures such as system upgrades or configuration changes expedites the validation process and maintains the integrity of SAP environment. So sanity testing is being done in the production system as well, but only at the time of go live. And just once it is being done to check whether everything is working fine or not. And then all other things are maintained and then system is being declared live. And in the quality system, this is being done to ensure that how the production system will behave, and what all thing needs to be done. Remember, production system is not being used extensively for the testing purpose at all. Rather, only these critical things are just to check to see that whether every connection and all other things are working as expected or not. And that is why it is written essential features and or core functionalities are checked. Let's move further. Smoke testing. This is another testing methods. It evaluates the critical functionalities or areas within SAP systems after changes, updates, or deployment. This primarily testing ensures that essential features or the core functionalities are functioning correctly before proceeding with comprehensive testing. It aims to identify major defects or showstopper issues quickly. By way of doing the smoke testing, you can identify the major defects or any showstopper issues very quickly. It also allows organizations to address critical issues promptly and maintain the stability of the SAP environments. This smoke testing also is being carried out in the SAP environment to ensure whether critical functionalities are working perfectly for any kind of changes, updates, or any new deployments. I mean, when the system goes live. Let's proceed further. Performance test. As you understand with the term itself, this testing basically checks how SAP system performance will take place in the different kind of situations when the data load will be more, when the users are operating more transactions, when a heavy report is being run in the system, how the system performance will look like. All these things are being tested by part of this performance testing. So it evaluates the responsiveness, scalability, and stability of SAP applications under varying workloads and conditions. This testing phase assesses factors such as response times, throughput, and resource utilization to identify performance bottlenecks or the areas of the SAP system which needs to be optimized. It helps in ensuring that SAP systems can handle anticipated user loads and data volumes without any degradation in the performance or service disruptions. By simulating real-world usage scenario, organizations can validate the reliability and efficiency of SAP applications, ultimately enhancing user experience and maximizing the system performance. The two ultimate goals of performance testing is enhancing the user experience and maximizing the system performance. So if a report is supposed to run in the SAP system within 2 minutes, it should not take 20 minutes. If it is taking 20 minutes, that simply means system performance need to be optimized. And I just gave one simple example. There can be many different performance related issues, particularly during the month end when the load on the systems are more. The system should not crash down at that point of time because it will hamper the entire business operations. And then there can be many such scenarios coming up because business usually runs in an environment which is highly unpredictable and dynamic in nature. So any time when such event happens, this performance testing ensures that system is capable enough to handle all such kind of loads without degrading the performance. Performance must not degrade, and that is why this performance testing is being carried out into various different kind of real world situations to see that how system will behave in a given situation when the data load is more, when the user load is more, when the processing volume is more, when the resource utilization is more, whether it will impact the system performance or not. All these things are validated by way of performance testing in the SAP projects. Let's move further. Security testing. So security testing ensures that only authorized users are able to execute transactions and access appropriate data, which is critical to any project, especially with today's need for SOX compliance, which is part of the audit compliance. This testing is typically done in a quality environment against near final configuration and the data from a full extract conversion and load exercise. Test IDs for job roles are created and used to both confirm what a user can do and what a user cannot do. So this is part of the SAP security testing to ensure that which business user can perform which activity in the system, what all authorizations the person is being given, what all the job roles, and that is why that various kind of roles, authorizations, test IDs, passwords, and all other things are created and given to the business users also for testing, and it is being tested by the project team members as well. This testing is done as part of UAT as well, since SAP applications contain extremely sensitive data about the enterprise. Protecting it from intruders is very important. Also, security experts are hired to find loopholes inside the network connections or application itself. It helps in analyzing certain things outside our application that other type of SAP testings do not cover up. Remember, security testing is not just all about SAP systems and the functionalities within it. Even the security experts are hired to check whether is there any loophole whenever the system in SAP connects with other systems and the data is being transferred between the systems. They check whether there is any loophole which can be exploited by the hackers to steal the data from the system. So all these things also form the part of your security testing, and it is being done extensively to ensure that it is meeting the business requirements, it is able to protect the data theft, and it is also meeting the business data security requirements. Let's move further. Black box testing. So in black box testing, let us understand first what the black box testing is all about. What is a black box test? So black box testing is so called because it treats the system under test as a black box. The name comes from engineering, where a black box is a system that takes a set of defined inputs and transforms them into defined outputs. That simply means if we are giving a predefined input into the SAP system and it converts that inputs into a predefined output. In this testing, we learn that what is going on inside the system. This form of testing is widely used during the system testing phase of software development life cycle (SDLC) and is also important for the user acceptance test. That means predefined inputs with expected outputs, and in this testing we also check how the system behaves internally, how the system is working internally, and whether it is giving us the right output when we provide it the correct inputs. So this testing is called as the black box testing, and it will also form as part of your user acceptance test, and it helps in the software development lifecycle process as well. Let's move further. Dry run testing. This is the last testing types which we are going to discuss as part of this video. So what is dry run testing? Dry run testing, including convergence, means a full-scale execution of all the tasks involved to extract data from legacy systems, perform any kind of data conversion, load the results into SAP and any other systems, and fully validate the results including a user sign-off. Remember, this dry run testing will be carried out not just in quality system, but it will also be carried out even at the time when the SAP production system goes live. This dry run testing is being done, and not just dry run testing is being done. After all the results are validated, there need to be a sign off from the business side as well. Only then this dry run testing will be considered as complete. Till then it is not complete. Most of the projects will have the several dry run conversions which progress from an exercise in capturing all the steps, checkpoints and sign-offs in data conversion to a timed exercise to ensure everything can be accomplished in the time window for go live. Remember one thing, at the time of go live, people work like anything and they don't take any breaks during that period because people get a very smaller window for production system to go live. So all the activities of the dry run need to be executed in a timely manner and in the proper sequence. And because of that only, this entire dry run exercise is being done multiple times to ensure that whatever you have planned is working as expected or not. Because for the production system, you will not get a very long window to complete all your tasks. You will get a very small time frame, 1 or 2 days or max 3 days, not more than that in general. To ensure that all the dry run activities are getting completed in 3 days time, you need to do the practice and rehearsals, and that is why many dry runs are executed mainly in the implementation projects. Let's move further. Now we have come to the conclusion of this particular video. So I will say just few things with regard to the SAP testing and the various terms, meanings and usage related to the SAP testing. First thing is, SAP testing is part and parcel of any kind of SAP project, does not matter which category it falls into. You always do some or the other kind of testings, and without testing an SAP project cannot go, any kind of changes cannot go to the production system. Since it is involved into all kind of SAP projects, there are certain job roles where people call it as SAP test managers. SAP test managers, whose only job will be to look after all the testings are being done correctly or not, all the defects raised during the testing is being resolved properly or not, system performance is fine tuned and optimized as per the business requirement and meeting the business expectations or not. All these are basically the goals of conducting the SAP test. This is a very critical phase of the work in the SAP domain, irrespective of the type of project you are working on. So many a times people do not pay much attention to the SAP testing, which is not a good practice at all, because fixing issues in the production system is really very costly and very dangerous as well. One should not try to take the SAP testing phase lightly. It can hamper the overall goal of the organization, that much potential it has to make or break your SAP system. So this needs to be taken with the due care, with the due seriousness, and try to cover testing into all possible areas as much as you can. The more testing, the better reliable system is what you will get in terms of SAP. Let's move further. Thank you so much for listening me till now. If you have any query, you can send your queries to the email ID mentioned below. I will definitely reply you back on that. Whatever query you may have, we'll try to provide an answer and explanation to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly like this video and subscribe this YouTube channel. I will keep bringing in such kind of useful videos for one and all. And remember, this testing what I have mentioned here is not meant only for SAP FICO. This testing is meant for all the areas what is being covered by SAP across modules, across different systems. It does not matter whether it is a CFIN system or BW system or CRM system, SCM system or whatever it is. Testing is part and parcel of all SAP projects and all SAP systems. So that anyway needs to be done. There is no shortcut for it. Thank you once again. Wish you all a good day ahead. Bye bye.